do want you to say hi. We're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
turn off to each person what the vision and mission of this month is. Okay.
Okay.
And live.
Yeah, we are live.
Welcome to Black, Bold Leaders of Authority, Courage, and Knowledge. I have three of my brothers and sisters here to help with the welcome and the prayer. We love to pray before each of our events and have God shine on us so that we can actually inspire and make the world a better place to live. So this vision and mission was thought of by the four of us, and it is to educate and share historical leaders as well as current leaders that are doing great things in the world to make the world better, and to put some light on them and have people see that there is hope, and have people learn more about this month. Every single person in the world should learn more about Black History Month, because the more you know, the more you're able to have gratitude and learn that we need to be together to make this planet work. So I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Roz, Dr. Smile, my sister, to give the prayer, and then we're going to go round robin so each of you get to meet and hear these leaders that help us.
Blessings, blessings, blessings. Father God, in Jesus' name, we thank you for raising Black leaders of authority, courage, and knowledge for such a time as this. Clothe us with your wisdom, anchor us in integrity, and fill us with fearless faith. Let our voices carry truth, our actions reflect justice, and our lives reveal your glory. Strengthen our minds, steady our hearts, and establish our steps as we love and lead, serve with humility, and walk in kingdom authority. We declare we are empowered, equipped, and appointed for impact. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. And why don't we turn over to Dr. Breakthrough, Dr. Stan. Thank you, Dr. Stan. The reason you are here is because we all would not be here if it wasn't for the gracious connections you make unconditionally every single day to people, including myself. So thank you for all the introductions you've made to make these programs more successful.
Hey, man. Well, thank you, man. It's a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure. Appreciate you. And again, anything that God does through me, I'm just so grateful. And I tell people all the time, I was a nobody, but he made me into a somebody. And now I'm committed to telling everybody he can do the same and a whole lot more through anybody. And that's what this is all about. 100th anniversary. It was 1926 when Carter G. Woodson started Black History Week. And then 1976 when it started as Black History Month. So this is the 100th anniversary of this celebrating. And again, the scripture is clear. He that despises his neighbor is because of a lack of wisdom. And so when we're educating, not just, ourselves, but everybody else, I mean, we all can look at people as who they are, not judgmental, not preconceived notions. And so that's what's powerful. So again, thank you each and every one of you for spearheading this. And thank you who are watching. And by the way, we need you to spread the message, let people know this is powerful, it's practical, and it's designed with your education and your empowerment in mind. So I close with this, and that is they used to say that you're a product of your environment. And I was like, that's part right, but actually you're a product of your empowerment is what I say. And so we can change our empowerment by being part of this Black hour of power every day. By the way, Doc, the other day I was in tears just seeing people honoring other people that are so powerful. Unlike the crab in the bucket, one crab's trying to get out and they pull him back down. No, you're producing a reverse crab in the bucket. We're like saying, hey, Dr. Cassandra, you're doing good, but you can do even better. Go ahead, Tanisha. You got this, girl. Go ahead, Dr. Smile. Go ahead, Dr. Smiling. And so thank you again and appreciate each and every one of you. I'm honored to be here with you.
Thank you so much. And finally, I'd like to have the voice of our director of events, who has a very, very big shoes to fill. She does all these events. We have over 300 events in February, and I don't know how we do it without her. The Smile Channel rejoices because of her smile and her spirit. Thank you, Tanisha.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Smiley, for this vision and allowing me to participate and be a part of the execution of it all. We're excited about so many people being illuminated in this month. There is such a great opportunity. And the wonderful thing is that you still have time to participate. You still have time to share about the leader, the Black leader that is influencing and impacting you. So make sure you go into the comments and click the link where you can sign up to be a part of this Bold Leaders of Authority, Courage, and Knowledge. It is going on every single day in February, every single day for just 1 hour for you to share about the leader you know, and 1 hour for you to learn about leaders that you have not even heard of yet. I've already been reminded of some people that I had forgotten about, and been encouraged about some people that I was like, oh, I forgot they did that. Oh, I never heard of them. And so if you want to learn something new, if you want to be a part of someone else learning something new, then this is a great opportunity for you. And even more so, share it, share it on your socials, share it on your email list. Listen, copy the link and put it in your email list and blast it out for Black History Month, because we want you to be a part. So we thank you for supporting, and we look forward to bigger and better.
Well, I have a surprise for the three of you, because there are so many people we can speak about. And this month is actually taught me a lot about how people are ticking, like how they're inspired. But gratitude is when you actually share how someone touched your life. And I want to share this because there are not enough days in the month for me to speak about the people I would like to speak. But if anyone would like this list of 200 amazing, inspiring leaders, I am going to be speaking about several of them. But this list is available to you. It gives you ideas of who you can speak about. And there are 200, and I will whip through this a little quicker here. And you can have this absolutely for free. And please nominate somebody who wants to speak about a leader if it's not you. Thank you very much, and welcome to Black History Month, Hour of Power. So next we have our host today, and today is the 4th of February, so it is our 4th Hour of Power. And Dr. Cassandra, if you'd please come aboard. Dr. Cassandra Bradford, how are you doing? What a beautiful smile.
Oh, thank you. I am doing absolutely wonderful today.
Well, it's great to have you in the driver's seat today. I'll be speaking later about Dr. Ben Carson, and I look forward to hearing who you're speaking about, as well as supporting you for this hour. Have a great show.
Thank you. So, everybody, I am Dr. Cassandra Bradford. I am so excited to be here. Today, I'm going to be speaking about Claudette Colvin. So, before Rosa Parks, there was Claudette Colvin. She was 15 years old. She famously refused to give up her seat in Montgomery, Alabama. 9 months before Rosa Parks did. And later she was arrested for defying segregation, and she became a key plaintiff in a court case, very well-known court case, Browder versus Gale, and which declared bus segregation was unconstitutional. She later died on January 13th, and I want to pay January 13th, 2026, and I want to pay homage to Claudette Colvin. So listen, I am so excited to be here for Hour of Power. We're talking about our Black leaders during Black History Month, and I know that we all have a vision. We all have a purpose on this earth. And as a Black leader, what are you doing today to influence history? On today, you can influence your vision, pursue your vision, execute your passion, and make a difference in your own life and your own community. You never know what one act of kindness will do to influence not just your own life, but your community and maybe the world that we all live in. Listen, we all need a little love. We are all called to share the good news. So, what good news are you sharing today that can change your life and change history and change the life of the person that you're speaking about? So I am so excited to be here. I'm honored to be here and be called upon to share in this influential moment and time to share about our Black leaders and Black history. And also, I'm excited that God is also using me, just like you, to share the good news of what is happening in our lives and in the lives of others. So thank you so much, Tanisha Carroll. Thank you so much, Dr. Stan Harris, and all of you guys for making this event so impactful, so purposeful. And so listen, if you guys are watching, if you guys are listening, Listen, study your history books, know what is happening, know how things were made and who influenced the world as we see it today. And then you look and ask yourself, what am I doing to be an influencer, if not to the world, but to my own self, to thine own self. So listen, I'm going to get out of the way. And I know that we have another speaker that's on deck getting ready to empower us, and that's Daryl Host, right? So, Daryl is the founder of Complete Home LLC and part owner of Dream Body RX. He is also the manager of the Field Motor Art Collection. Daryl, it is such an honor to introduce you. So you can share with us everything about Black History Month and the person that you're speaking about.
Awesome. Thank you. Wait, one second. Thank you so much for the introduction. So the person that I chose for Black History Month is actually Son House, which is Eddie James House Jr. is his technical name. And yeah, I'm the manager of the Phil Matola art collection, along with Taryn Amer. And fun fact, it's my birthday today. So every February, I've always gone through Black figures and gone through just history and watched speeches of. I was a big fan of Dr. Martin Luther King, and I used to watch videos, like just all kinds of videos all over the internet, just on the subject of Black history. But I chose Son House because he was so influential in rock music. He was so influential in just laying down the groundwork for, bands like Rolling Stones, the Beatles, all that stuff to take off, because as we all know, blues is the origin of modern rock music. So born 1902, Eddie James House Jr. in the Riverton community over in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Son House was one of the most influential Delta blues men of the 20th century. His proteges include Robert Johnson and Muddy Waters, as well as a number of post-1960s blues revivalists. People who think of Robert Johnson, usually they're thinking of the guy, think of the song Crossroads, where the guy sells his soul to the devil. The interesting thing about Son House is when he was 15, he was preaching in Baptist churches. He eventually returns. He goes away from home. He goes over to Louisiana and starts preaching inside the Baptist churches. He wasn't always a fan of the blues music, but he got into it, right? And by like 1928, he studied guitar, particularly slide techniques, underneath Willie Brown. He's also a Delta blues musician. And so he eventually got on to Paramount Records. And so, I wanted to read some of his lyrics, actually. So one of his songs that was a very popular song was the Death Letter song. And the lyrics go, "I got a letter this morning. What do you reckon it said? Said the gal you love is dead." It's just really strong lyrics. Without Son House, you also wouldn't have the White Stripes. You wouldn't have he was influential. He's one of the key people that made the music accessible for a lot of people. Just really, really beautiful lyrics, abstract ideas, things that you don't typically hear and read from people. Like he was singing a lot of music about biblical themes like John the Revelator. He was singing the song, trying to load it up right now, but he also sang a song about fake people in your life. Is called grinning in your face, right? Don't you mind people grinning in your face. Don't mind people grinning in your face. Just bear this in mind. A true friend is hard to find. It's like your mother will talk about you, your sister and your brother too. He's saying, don't care how you're trying to live, they'll talk about you still, right? No matter what, they're going to talk smack. It's just really profound lyrics, and when you listen to them, it really moves you, and it just shows how powerful the messages and stories that he told are. That some of the stories, maybe it came out 1920s, so that would be almost 100 years now. So it's a century ago, literally. And so, yeah, one of the best musicians. If you've never heard any Sunhouse music, I highly recommend checking it out. It is very worth the time. There's a reason he influenced so many people, and if you're a fan of Muddy Waters, you'll be a fan of Sunhouse, just like if you're a fan of Elmer James or Lightning Hopkins or any of them. I mean, really great music. I got into all the blues. I started out playing music in the category of the blues, and I still will go back and listen to old songs that inspired me, and there's no shortage. You eventually find more and more blues music. Yeah.
Daryl, thank you so much for that. I'm telling you that those lyrics by Son House, a true friend, is hard to find. I'm telling you, sometimes when we listen to lyrics from those writers from the past, they still have an impact on our lives to this very day. I'm telling you, a friend is hard to find. So
Yeah.
I want you guys to thank you. I didn't know Son House influenced so many other artists. So thank you for that. That was really good for me. I appreciate it,
I
Daryl,
love the blues.
for that. And so you guys, this is we are celebrating Black History Month, and we are paying homage to those that have influenced us and have made a positive impact in the world, right? And some of these Black history makers, we didn't know anything about them, and so Daryl just shed a light on on uh on Don, on a very great lyricist who influenced so many other entertainers. So thank you so much for that. So we are ready for our next speaker, Dr. Ken Rashan. He is an authority impact strategist. He's a publisher. He's a global connector. He's a Renaissance man. He is the host of the Dr. Smiley Show on YouTube, and he'll be sharing about Ben Carson.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bradford. I am so excited to speak about Dr. Ben Carson. He is someone I met. I had the pleasure of meeting. I do want to give a shout out to Daryl because for those of you who do not know who Sunhouse is, I actually was a DJ for 40 years. And I just want to give a little shout out to let you see that he is not only Googleable, he is quite influential as he had shared. So thank you, Daryl, for that. That amazing Black inspiring leader. Dr. Ben Carson, I have the pleasure of not only meeting him, but Gifted Hands is a book I read when I was right around 12. And I have a signed copy from Dr. Ben Carson. And it became a movie. And then I also have another book by him, America is Beautiful. And then finally, a more recent book, Take That Risk. Again, another signed copy by Dr. Ben Carson. And he is more than a hero to me. He is the reason I became a science teacher. He is the reason that I embrace science. And I'm going to be sharing some stuff with you that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Before I do, though, I do want to share, I guess, a couple things. Like I was at his 60th birthday party. That was a lot of fun. He actually wrote the foreword to one of my books, which I'll share a little story about that as well. But just let me get here. So this is a picture of Dr. Ben Carson and myself. He was gracious enough to write a foreword to a client's book, and the story goes like this: is that he was willing to write the foreword for this gentleman who was talking about wellness and more natural ways of getting holistic remedies. And the lawyers at Johns Hopkins said, "We have a problem with you doing this forward. There's some information in this book that may cause problems." And so Dr. Ben Carson wrote me an email and said, "Ken, I'm so sorry, but as it turns out, I cannot write the forward because there's some words in the book that could cause some problems for my job, my security, Johns Hopkins, who I work for." And I went to bed that night praying and saying, "Gosh, I really wanted Dr. Ben Carson to write the forward. It would completely change um, the authority that this author would have. It would change the message being taken more seriously." And I woke up that next morning and God had given me a wonderful solution. So I emailed Dr. Ben Carson back and I said, "If words are stopping you from doing the forward, can you please identify those words that are preventing this from happening? We will be happy to remove those words." And it turned out it was only 2 sentences, 2 or 3 sentences tops. So we removed the words from the book, and next thing I knew, I was at his office about a month or two later delivering the book with his name on the front cover. So I was at his 60th birthday party as well, and he has a big message that is think big. So I'm going to just share that with you real quick. Here are several photos. This is his son, Ben Carson Jr., and this is his cake. Well, this is the cake right here, faithful servant. And then this is his message. And anyone that was able to buy that night was able to make a donation to his philanthropy. This is, I think, I can't remember if I'm wearing that particular one, but this is me at his 60th birthday party. And the one thing about Dr. Ben Carson, if there was ever a person that smiled, it was certainly Dr. Ben Carson. This is a book called Connected. These are people that I've had the pleasure to know. And inside this book, as I may have already shared, is Dr. Ben Carson right there, Dr. Ben Carson. And I put him in this book because he has changed my life in so many ways. I taught 4 years in PG County public school system in a school that was probably about 99% minority. And he gave me the courage. He gave me the commitment to serve kids that just needed to be inspired, that science was a good thing, that science could change their life. And I wanted to share just a couple of things about the way I approached science because of him. First of all, when I asked the kids if they love science, not too many kids raised their hand. And when I said, "Well, how many of you don't really like science at all?" And I had some kids blurt out, "I hate science." And so I said to them, "If you hate science, have you ever heard of the word hypocrisy or hypocrite?" And not too many had heard that word. I said, "Well, a hypocrite is someone that says they love something, but they really hate it, or they hate it, but they really love it." I said, "I'll tell you what, I'll do a test of whether you love science or hate science as you've identified that's your true feeling. If you can go a day without science, I may believe you that you hate science. So that means that you cannot use soap. You cannot use a shower that was made by science. You can't eat most foods that were made by science. You can't enjoy your music that was made by science. You can't listen to stereo, electricity, etc." I said, "If anyone comes to school tomorrow smelling stinky, naked, you will probably have convinced me that you are true about hating science." So that was my message for my kids, and no one took me up on it. And I ended up having a lot of kids be not only inspired, but really go on to pursue science. So a quick question for you today before I start. How many of you have had, been proven that you were wanted to prove someone that they were wrong. And today I want to talk about someone that was actually considered the worst student in his class. And he ended up becoming the greatest brain surgeon in the world. And what's so amazing about this is that I live in the Baltimore vicinity. Johns Hopkins University, Johns Hopkins Hospital is probably about 25 minutes from my house. I went through Johns Hopkins ROTC program, and I am blown away that this man, Dr. Ben Carson, was the youngest brain surgeon, neurosurgeon at age 33, and he chose Johns Hopkins. And a story in his book, Gifted Hands, is that in the interview, he wasn't doing anything special that was causing the person to consider him for hire, but classical music was playing in the background, and Ben said, "Oh, I recognize that classical piece," and that caught the interviewer off guard. And he shared how much he loved classical music, and they went into a tangent conversation about classical music, and ended up becoming friends. And he, of course, was hired. So, who is Ben Carson? Dr. Ben Carson was born on September 18th, 1951, in Detroit, Michigan. He's a world famous neurosurgeon, as I said, an author, a public figure, and a plot twist. He even ran for president of the United States of America in 2016. But before all that, he was just a kid struggling in school, growing up in poverty. As a child, Ben Carson had terrible grades. He was teased, angry, and had a really low opinion of himself. Teachers didn't expect much from him, and that could have been because at the end of the story, but then there was his mom. And before I go into sharing about his mom, one of the attributes Ben Carson has that's the complete opposite of who he was as a kid is his anger. He was considered one of the most peaceful medical doctors that anyone had ever experienced. No matter how hectic it was in the surgery room, he never lost his cool. He never shouted. He never raised his voice. He was always cool, calm, and collected. And he was sometimes running surgical teams of 45 people. I'll go in later to, well, actually, I'll say here now that he was the first person to successfully separate Siamese twins, and both of them live. In all past surgeries, one of them was going to be the victim, unfortunately, of the surgery. So just like Dr. Ben Carson's mother, my mother was the reason that I believe in myself so much, and he certainly had a wonderful mother. His mother, Sonia Carson, was a single mother raising two boys, and here's the part that shocks people. She couldn't read, and she had only a third grade education and was functionally illiterate, but she refused to let that stop her children. She worked multiple jobs, cleaning houses, and still made education the priority. She limited TV, made her sons read 2 library books a week, and write reports, even though she couldn't read them herself. And when Dr. Ben Carson would ask questions about what he was reading and that he had problems with it, she would say, "I'm not helping you. You figure it out." And so he never did know that his mother didn't read till much later. Her message was simple: you are not dumb. You can learn anything. That belief changed everything. So once Ben Carson started reading, his confidence exploded. He went from the bottom of the class to the top. He discovered he loved science, especially how the brain works. Eventually attended Yale University and the University of Michigan Medical School. Not bad for a kid, everyone counted out. So his medical achievements: at age 33, as I stated before, he became the youngest director of pediatric neurosurgery in the U.S. At the Johns Hopkins Hospital. His most famous achievement was leading the first successful separation of conjoined twins joined at the head. The surgery lasted over 20 hours and changed medical history. Here's a fun fact for you. Despite doing extreme, intense surgeries, Dr. Carson was known for being calm, soft-spoken, and almost never yelling, basically the opposite of TV doctors. Gifted Hands and its impact was huge. He wrote this book that I shared earlier, which later became a movie and tells the story of his struggles, his faith, and his success. For many Black children, this book was powerful because it showed a Black scientist and surgeon, someone who looked like them succeeding in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. That intelligence isn't fixed, it grows, and it helps make careers in science and medical feel possible, not just for other people. So he is a philanthropist. Dr. Carson didn't just succeed, he gave back. He co-founded the Carson Scholars Fund, which I was very aware of it being very active in the Baltimore area. He awarded scholarships to high achieving students, promoting reading and academic excellence, focusing especially on underserved communities. He also supports education reform and youth development programs nationwide. Politics in 2016, he ran for president, and he didn't, even though people didn't agree with his politics and often rejected his intelligence, life story, and calm demeanor, he later served as the U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. And a couple of last interesting facts. He was once known as the angriest kid in class. Later, he became one of the calmest surgeons ever. His credits standing for rewiring his brain. He says confidence, not talent, was his biggest turning point. He proves that you don't have to be loud to be powerful. And the wrap up for me is where you start does not decide where you end. And parents don't have to be perfect to be powerful. Representation matters. One mother who couldn't read raised a son who mastered the human brain. That's not just impressive, that's inspirational. So thank you so much for all you did, Dr. Ben Carson. You're still here, and I hope you hear my voice that you made a difference in one more person. Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Smiley.
Thank you so much, Dr. Smiley. That was awesome. Sharing stories about Ben Carson, whose background would not even suggest that he would later run for president of the United States, whose calm demeanor, especially in the loud world, I guess, silence is really golden, right? Ben Carson's name will forever be stamped in our history books, and we should pay homage to him and learn from that, especially in this loud world. So thank you so much for that. I didn't even know that he was that same Ben Carson that did that surgery on those conjoined twins. I had read about that before. So thank you so much for
You're
that.
welcome.
That was awesome. I'm telling you guys, I feel smarter today. Today I have learned so much. And I hope you guys are too. And so I want to bring to the stage Dr. Herbert Harris. Herbert Harris is a retired attorney and author of numerous books, including How to Make Money in Music, a highly popular guidebook to the music industry published by Arco Prentice Hall, and the author of Power Thoughts for Your Success. Take it away, Dr. Harris.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bradford. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Number one, thanks for doing this as a part of the whole Black History Month experience. And thank you for being aware of so many things that have happened over the last 250, 300, really 400 years in this country. One of the things that I was talking with Dr. Breakthrough that I've been very blessed with was long life. I was a student in the 60s. I just turned 82. And one of the things that long living gives you an opportunity is to see stuff firsthand and to get an experience, get an idea of what it was really like, not from something that you read in a book, but from something you saw. So I grew up in the 50s where you actually had segregated lunch counters, segregated bathrooms. And when you went into a department store, they had signs, white, colored. Or when you went to a restaurant, you had signs, whites only. And the amazing thing was that was the law of the land. That was a law that had been really codified by the Supreme Court in the 1896 court case, Plessy versus Ferguson. And so it always amazed me that, people who are, Americans could act that way towards other Americans. And so the people that I'd like to honor today are personal friends. And in February 1st of 1960, in the beginning of the civil rights era, after Dr. King and the bus boycott in Alabama, but four young men sat down, Frank McCain, Ezell Blair, David Richmond, and Joseph McNeil. And so these young men I want to honor because they were people who participated in a turning point in the history of this nation. They were known as the Greensboro Four. They were all college students at Greensboro A&T State University. And at that time, the stores that had lunches and restaurants had segregated counters, and they would not serve Black people. Woolworths was a main restaurant chain. It was like a five and dime, almost like a general store located throughout cities in America, and this was their official policy. And so these four college students, on February 1st, 1960, they went into the lunch counter at the Woolworth's department store in Greensboro, North Carolina, and they sat in. And when they sat down, of course, nobody wanted to serve them. The police were called. People spat on them through catch. They were really ugly to them. But these four young men really created something that changed the world. I wrote a book called Solving the Race Issue in America by H.J. Harris. It's available on Amazon, Solving the Race Issue in America. And we talked about how certain things came together. There had been sit-ins before, but they never had an impact. But something was different about February 1960, and that was the advent of television. And so the first thing, the thing that really made it unique was the fact that now the world could see how Black people were treated in public institutions. And it shocked the world. It says this is television projected the braveness of the Greensboro Four: Joseph McNeil, Franklin McCain, Ezell Blair, and David Richmond. It was television that brought out the world. The world saw this. And one of the interesting things, now, my relationship to Joseph McNeil, well, we were classmates. I left for college in 1960, and he left in 1959. He actually started college in September 1959. I started college. I was the first Black kid from my high school, in a segregated high school, to go to an Ivy League college. In 1960, I went to Columbia University. But Jojo and I grew up together. And he said something very interesting. He said that first day, the four of them sat there, and they were so afraid, but they believed that they were right. And as they were leaving, one of the press people asked them, "Are you coming back tomorrow?" And he said they actually hadn't planned that far ahead, but he said, "Yes, we will be back." And they came back the next day and the next day. And what happened was this entire movement caught fire. And people around the country, college students, started going into restaurants, started going into public places that would not serve Black people and sitting in at the lunch counters. And within a month, there were over demonstrations in over 55 cities. And this sit-in, this boycott, this sitting in at these lunch counters changed the world. Over 300 people joined the movement that day right there in Greensboro. The Ku Klux Klan and all those negative people came out to intimidate them, but these young men would not be intimidated. These 55 cities, demonstrations in 55 cities, changed the course of history. Once the news picked up on it, and television was so powerful because the world could see through television that what America was projecting was not true, that America was not living up to its creed, and that it treated people of color very differently. And so these four men, we honor them: Joseph McNeil, Franklin McCain, Ezell Blair, and David Richmond. Joseph McNeil went on to become, when you talk about a smart brother, he went on to become a retired general. He was a major general in the United States Air Force. And at one point, he was in charge of all of the Air Force operations west of the Mississippi. And so out of this Greensboro Four, these four young men, we should always honor them because they were seeds in the garden of change that brought about a new world order. So this is my contribution. I'm Dr. Herbert Harris. I invite you to visit my website, herbertharris.com. I schedule interviews. You can set up a success consultation, and you can see some of our products that are designed to help transform people from people in bondage of mind to people who are free to fly, to dream, to be, and to have. And of course, our book is online, Solving the Race Issue in America by H.J. Harris. Back to you, Dr. Bradford.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Man, that was so good, Dr. Harris. I'm telling you, you lived it. So we don't have to guess what happened. You were there through some point of our Black history. And man, so you guys need to go to herbertharris.com and learn all of this stuff. Man, this was so outstanding. I am so honored to have been the host of this Hour of Power with Black History Month. And listen, you guys, I say get the audio, get the video, get the playback, and play it over and over again. I have learned so much today about influencers that have left a carbon footprint, not just in Black history, but in American history, and even in for myself. So listen, this has been great. I want to thank Dr. Tanisha for putting this on. I know that Brian Roberts is next. So thank you so much, Dr. Herbert Harris. We're going to move forward with Brian Roberts. Brian, are you ready? Yes. So thank you guys so
Yes.
much.
Yes, I am.
So Brian, we are ready for you to turn your camera on. There you go. There you go. And take it away.
All right. What a blessing to follow such an amazing speaker. Can you hear me fine? Okay. That was just, you took me back. I mean, like you really did. So give you a little history of me. My name is Brian Roberts. I'm an actor, singer, promoter, producer. My wife wrote the film, Remember Me, the Mahalia Jackson story. And the great person that I want to talk about is Tom Burrell from Burrell Communications. Burrell Communications Chicago, Mr. Tom Burrell started his business. Actually, he got into advertising in 1961. He didn't know what direction he wanted to take, but Mr. Burrell had a teacher that told him the way he tested out, it looked like media was something that he could do in advertising. At that time in 1961, during the Civil Rights Movement, there were not very many people of color. There weren't hardly any at all, if at all, in Chicago who were in the advertising space. So a lot of folks discouraged him. Even his own father discouraged him. You will find that he wrote a book in 2010, and it's the only book that he actually wrote. And then there's a documentary that came out in 2025 that chronicles his life. If you simply Google Tom Burrell, you will get super excited about what you learn because he is now 86 years old and he is a living, walking testament of history. Now, the beauty of Mr. Tom Burrell, what he did, he had major advertisers from McDonald's to Coca-Cola to Procter & Gamble. I happened to grow up in that region. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, and literally have plenty of family in the Cincinnati region. And so when you talk about P&G for us, it was almost like that was our way out. That actually established much of the middle class in those areas. So if you know a little bit about the Industrial Revolution, and it's a beautiful thing having, followed Dr. Harris, because he talked about media. And what you'll find in the book Brainwashed, if you look it up, Google it, he says Black people are not dark-skinned white people. He says that advertising, in fact, they are a lot more. They are survivors of the Middle Passage and centuries of humiliation and deprivation who have excelled against the odds, constantly making a way out of no way. At this point in history, the idea of Black inferiority is nothing more than a myth. And so what he talks about in that book, and I don't want to ruin it for you, is there is a PR to this thing that a lot of folks don't look at. And that's why I love following what Dr. Harris said, because it was so amazing, because he's right. Television made the difference. Me personally, how did he really truly impact my life? Well, my dad was actually adopted by my great uncle, Uncle Homer Greenwood. out of Cincinnati, Ohio. He was one of 15 children born near Loudoun County, Alabama. My father, actually, at the age of, well, when I was 12 years old, I got introduced to the rest of the family, and I met a lady by the name of Elizabeth Burrell. She was my great aunt in Louisville, Kentucky. I had no idea at that time that she was the grandmother of MC Hammer, Stanley Burrell, E40, the rapper, Kim Burrell, Catherine Burrell, and the list goes on and on. So imagine my surprise in 2008 after my father passed away and one of the Burrells spoke and he was giving tribute to Uncle Willie Roberts. And then I found out that I'm actually a family member, a cousin of Mr. Tom Burrell. In order to understand my story, the first thing you have to understand is my grandmother on my mom's side was born in 1898. She was half Choctaw Native American and Black. I had a photographic memory. I was the child who literally was born 12 years after everyone else. And so as a young child, I always felt like, because I was born in 1971, the same year that he founded Burrell Bain Communications. 3 years later, Mr. Bain went his own direction and Tom Burrell continued on. The reason why he had a great impact on my life is, for me personally, I always felt disconnected. My best friend was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, Kevin Franklin, and he was jumped into the GDs, which was a gang at that time, the Gangster Disciples, at 9 years old, right there in Cabrini Green. So his mom, a great evangelist, she looked me in the eye. She used to say this all the time, and I'm getting a little emotional even talking about it. But she said, Brian, do me a favor. And I said, what's that? She said, bring Kevin back home safe. I thank God for that woman, because not only did she save me, because I had a lot of anger, because I was confused, I had all these things going on, but something inside of her said, this young man will do it. And you better believe I brought him back unscathed every single time. Now imagine having a best friend that was born and raised in Cabrini Green, and when you hear that song, just in looking out of the window from Good Times, all he had to do was look out the window, and on Michigan Avenue, there stood Burrell Communications. I called that friend one day when I found this out, and I said, Kevin, you're not going to believe this, but that's my family. And so, other than it just being family, we are family of the kingdom of God. I founded a group called Diamond VIP. We started this group during the time I live out in Las Vegas, Nevada, when everything was in disarray during COVID-19. And my goal was to inspire and promote. I've had over 30 years of promotional experience. I learned from Mr. Joe Santangelo out of Cincinnati, Ohio, the great jazz festival. That's who taught me how to do what I do. And now I'm pouring that into other people. So that's my acknowledgement of the greatness of Tom Burrell, because every nation and nationality of people, whenever we see a commercial that is not white, we will know deep down in our hearts that a living legend paved the way. He is in the Advertisers Hall of Fame, Mr. Tom Burrell. I'm honored to even speak those words. If you want to get in contact with me, go to www.diamondvippromotions.com. I will consult with you. We did a book. The book was about me coming from homelessness up to where we are now, from '03 to now. If it wasn't for the miraculous power of God and all of these inspiring people, I wouldn't be here today. If I'm great, it's because I stand on the shoulders of their greatness. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Man, Tom Burrell, Chicago, huh? Man, that's my hometown. So, wow, that was really, really good, insightful, impactful. Wow, man, you had such a charge on your life, to talk about your friend, that your mom told you. Wow, that was so good, you guys. So listen, this hour of power, look back into Black history. This has been phenomenal. Tanisha, can you jump on now as she is our finder? Well, listen, I guess my MC duties are not over. Man, I get to introduce our next speaker. It is an honor. It is a privilege. Man, I feel like I'm getting ready to introduce one of God's favorites. right? God's friend, right? Dr. Stan Harris is coming up next. Oh my God, Dr. Breakthrough. This man is a man of prayer, and he is going to share with us one of his people from our Black history. Go take it away, Dr. Stan Harris.
Hey, well, thank you so much again. What a blessing, Dr. Bradford, you are, and the great things that you're doing, all the other speakers. Man, Dr. Herbert Harris, he's a living legend, right? Brian, Robert. Anyway, let me stop. But I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. So I want to real quick, I want to take this time that I have to talk about and share with you something very special. As a matter of fact, let me show you a quick picture. And what's wrong with this picture? What's wrong with the picture is this little boy imagine himself becoming a superhero, but he can only see himself turning white to be that superhero because those are the only pictures that he's used to seeing and the people that he knows. And so that's why this is so important. So thank you, Dr. Smiley, again for spearheading this. And what happens because of what we're doing now, this young man can look in the mirror and see himself not having to change anything, or his color rather, because why? He understands. So understanding these contributions of great people. And as a matter of fact, when you understand the empowerment of what we want to give to you, by the time we're done going through all this, you're going to be able to be like this little boy that's imagined himself being a superhero, although he's stuck in a wheelchair, but he's using the power of imagination, the power of visualization, so that he can see himself becoming so much more than his actual circumstances. That's what the Black Hour Power, that's what Black history, that's what we're all about. And so write this thought down, if you will. That is, you are now succeeding because someone who preceded you suffered, or you are now suffering so that someone who will follow you can succeed. Shall I say that again? You are now succeeding because someone who preceded you suffered, or you are now suffering so those who will follow you can now succeed. And so I want to honor someone today. Out of all the powerful people in the world I could think of, the most powerful influence on my life is this lady right here, Thelma Stewart Gessler. Now, you won't find her if you Google, but you'll find out about what she produced, which is the guy speaking. If you Google me, you'll find me all over the place. So I want to talk about some lessons I learned from my mom, although she had a hard upbringing, but some things I learned from her. And she taught me, get this now, without ever saying a word. See, somebody said, I'd rather see a lesson than hear one any day. I'd rather one should walk with me than merely point the way. The eye's a better pupil, more willing than the ear. Find counsels confusing, but example is always clear. And the best of all the teachers are the ones who live their creeds. For the seed of good in action is what everybody needs. For I may misunderstand you in the good advice you give, but there's no misunderstanding how you act and how you live. And my mom nicknamed her TG, but my mom was an amazing, amazing individual, had it so rough growing up, went through a situation where she dated a young guy who was supposed to be a minister. But just remember, Satan's greatest trick is opposition by imitation. So everything God has, the devil has the same thing to try to detract. And so if God's got ministers, the devil's got to have some ministers. So a guy who's so-called minister, when my mom was just a young teenager, she dated him, and it was a date rape situation. She was a virgin, ended up getting pregnant. And back then, they would send you down south to have the baby. But she felt so hurt because they sided with this quote-unquote minister, and my mom was broken for quite a while. Happened to be away from her family and so forth. And eventually she had that child, which was my oldest brother. But then she met my dad a couple years later, got married. And then I was born November 23rd, 1960. Then my brother, Ronald, was born December 61. And then Lonnie was born January 62. But the babysitter, she found out, was pregnant and had a baby 2 months before Lonnie was born. And that baby was from my dad. So that busted them up, and my mom and my dad left. But I didn't know this. And I remember growing up saying, my dad left when I was 3, never called, never sent mom a dime, but mom raised us. But I would say, well, whatever happened to you and dad? She said, well, one day if you ever meet him, you can ask him. She never said one negative word. And I'm saying, and I'm telling you, I never heard about the date rape situation until I was like in my 40s. So what am I saying? She literally taught me this. Number one, she taught me the lesson of forgiveness. Write that down, forgiveness. Bitterness does more harm to the vessel in which it's stored than it does the victim on whom it's poured. And she could have been angry. She could have been upset. But you know what? She understood something. And even the scripture teaches when you have unforgiveness, that bitterness, you be turned over to the tormentor. So this is how she could still be happy in spite of all the hurt that she's been through. See, hurt people who've not been healed will hurt people, but hurt people who have been healed can now be used of God to help others. And that's what she did. So she taught me, and never sat me down and taught, but by watching her example, she taught me the lesson of forgiveness. She taught me, don't quit. She had it hard raising, by the way, 5 boys on it, had it hard, but guess what? Mama wouldn't quit. And I learned from that, her example, just keep on keeping on. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, and the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. If care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is strange with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. Many a struggler turns about. When they might have won it, they stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure, turned inside out. The silver tint of the cloud of doubt, and you never can tell how close you are. Victory may be near, though it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you just mustn't quit. And my mama didn't quit, my friend. And listen, I remember when I went off to college, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I remember writing a letter to my mom. I got financially withdrawn one semester, and then another semester I hurt myself at work, and you have too many absentee days, and you got to be out for another semester. And I wrote her, said, Mom, I learned from you not to quit, and so you're not going to see me again unless I graduate. And by the way, when I graduated from college, I got that diploma, and I jumped, said, Mama, I got it, I got it, I got it. But this sometimes, like in Jeremiah, the story of Abimelech, and these unseen rope holders that help. See, we all want to hear about all these other great folks, but I'm telling you about the great ones that influenced me. And that is Thelma, my mama, TG, Thelma Jean Gessner. She taught me forgiveness. She taught me don't quit. Then she taught me don't depend on the government. My mama worked 2 jobs to take care of us. That's right. She could have just sat back and got a government check, but no. She's like, I'm going to be independent. And she worked 2 jobs. And I tell people, my friend, because he was like, man, you're one of the hardest workers I know. I saw that an example of my mother. I don't have any other choice. But she also taught me don't live in depression. She taught me don't live in depression. By the way, it's interesting if you take the word depression and you rearrange the letters, it spells I pressed on. Ooh, same letters, my friend. Instead of depression, I pressed on. My mom, she didn't tell me that by words. She told me that with her life, my friend. She showed me. And then she told me the power of sowing seeds. So I'll go back, and I'll close with this. When I was a little boy, I got in all kind of trouble, and I just wanted some attention and didn't know how to do it by being good. So I was bad and got some attention. Right? But ended up about to get kicked out of public school. Now, you bad when you're about to get kicked out of public school. I mean, I was in trouble school, trouble at home, trouble at the law. But anyway, and so mama, how this woman did this. She figured out how to get the money to put me in Catholic school, to try to reform me. And that didn't work, sad to say. By the way, those nuns used to beat my knuckles with rulers. But anyway, 2 guys jumped me, and I defended myself. The nuns didn't see them get me. The nuns just saw me, So I got kicked out of school. I never forget coming home, and my mom was there sleeping on the couch trying to get a little sleep. And when I came to the house, she's like, she walked, boy, wait a minute, what are you doing? You're supposed to be in school. And I was like, I got kicked out of school. And you would have to have a black mother to know the wrath of a black mother. She said, boy, wait a minute. She said, I'm raising all you boys without any help. Your dad never sends any money and anything. She said, but I'm doing the best I can. She said, you're about to drive me to an early grave. She said, and then all of a sudden, the Lord got a hold of her heart because I could tell, you know why? I'd never seen my mom cry before. And all of a sudden she started crying. And that got me. She started crying and she said, but you know what, Stan? I know one day you're going to make me so proud of you. Wow. See, I had this hard heart. I've been hurt so much in life, physically abused and verbally abused and sexually abused and all this tarred and feathered as little child. Listen, my friend, as a 6-year-old boy, tarred and feathered by a teenage gang and left in the field for dead. But now, so I had this hard shell to protect myself. But now when my mama, the tears, all of a sudden it broke through that hardness. And she said, but I know one day you're going to make me proud of you. And I made up my mind. I said, wait a minute, the only person that really loves me, because I felt like nobody ever cared, the person, I'm breaking her heart. And I said to myself, I will never get in trouble at school again. I will never cause her any more hurt. The guy who never thought I'd make it out of school graduated top of my list in high school, won every award, graduated, went off to college, graduated, who's who, a dean's list, became a college professor. Make a long story short, 10th degree black belt, traveling all over the world, speaking in colleges, speaking for businesses, building businesses, doing all kind of stuff. And one time my mom came to hear me speak and she said this to me. And she said, son, I'm honored just to know a man of your stature. Like, come on, Mom, stop. She said, no, no, no. She said, I can't, the things that you've achieved. And I looked at her and I said, well, Mom, I want to thank you because you're the one that sowed the seeds. And this is just a harvest of the seeds that you planted. She's like, what are you, no, what are you talking about? I said, remember when got kicked out of school and you you got into me. Boy, I'm doing it. But you stopped. You started crying. I said, you said, but one day, I know you're going to make me proud of you. I said, so you sowed the seed, and this is your harvest. So thank you, Mom, for sowing that seed. God bless each and every one of you. And each and every one of you are seed sowers. And I want to say again, you'll never see her. And you can't Google and find her. But if you Google her son, that's her legacy. So God bless you.
I love it. I'm successful because my past successors, those who suffered to make things happen for me. And so, Dr. Stan, I'm like you. My mother is my hero. Uh, if it wasn't for her, I don't think I
Shiro.
would. She's my shero, right? I wanted to go to law school, and she made that happen. And I wanted to be a community leader just like her, and I've done that. So hopefully that I can carry on her legacy. And so just like you may not read her in history books, but she'll always be alive in my heart and in my mind. So wow, this has been a phenomenal morning. This has been a phenomenal day, all about Black history, all about our leaders and those who have influenced not just America, but our community and our hearts. So if you haven't learned anything today, I know I have. So, Dr. Tanisha, are you jumping back on to close us out? Man, I'm over here bursting. I feel
Well,
so smart today.
we want everyone to close out this
Yeah.
hour. And while we're getting everyone in, I do want to just show, I want to show Tom Burrell real quick for those of you who'd like to Google him. And we do intend to make a historical educational book of all the people who have spoken about these leaders, as well as a QR code on those pages so they can hear the voice of the person that honored them. So, Brian, thank you. That was a beautiful presentation.
Thank you.
All right.
We thank everybody for being here, for participating, for sharing such phenomenal leaders. And we invite you, if you have not registered yet, to go ahead and register. The link is available in the comments. And y'all come back tomorrow and then come back again on Friday. Dr. Cassandra is hosting again on Friday. So she's powerful. Love her as a host. And we're excited about the opportunity to share so many phenomenal Black leaders. So thank you all for being here. And we'll see you again tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern.
Blessings.